Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night, and all of which apply to wherever you're watching. So, I want to thank you for stopping on by to another Wilhelm the Esoteric video. So, for today's video, we're going to talk about a subject matter that's quite deep and quite intense and comes from our childhood traumas and from a lot of the things we pick up along the way. I'm sure some of you have heard that our childhood is almost like a blueprint to who we're going to be when we become adults. Our childhood is a really critical time for our life. It doesn't mean we can't change, but what we go through, what we lack, what we have too much of, what we focus on, what people have come into our lives, what situations have we been dealt? What things have we gone through? Have we been betrayed a lot? Have we had a lot of nurturing? Have we had a lot of love? Have we lacked a lot of love? This could be different for everybody, and for every era of our life, this can change. And sometimes a lot of us have to endure a lot of suffering and hardship. So for this video, we're going to talk about the Enneagram test. Now, the Enneagram is a tool that psychologists, therapists, and counselors of all sorts from around the world use. And it's based off of ancient principles and a collaboration of different schools of thought, of philosophy, and of mental health within the social sciences. Life is made up of different avenues, and these different avenues bring forth different insight that we can learn to adapt and to modify to fit our needs and necessities as a society as a whole, which is why I wanted to make this video, so we can see what our strengths, what our weaknesses are. Now, the Enneagram has 9 numbers, and out of these 9 numbers, each of these 9 numbers represents different sorts of cognitive skills, if you will, different sorts of strengths and weaknesses and areas of focus. And these areas are developed in different ways for different people throughout different parts of their life, especially when they're growing up. The parenting of the individual is critical and really conditions the individual on what to focus. And this is because of an overindulgence in certain things, perhaps a lack of certain things, and different means of the sort. This varies from individual to individual and is the uniqueness of each and every person. Out of these 9 numbers, we have a foundational number. And out of these 9 numbers comes a set of 3s, if you will. Out of these numbers, sometimes across or sometimes right below, our Enneagram number, when we're feeling stressed or when we're feeling happy or content, will go and become one of these other numbers that's across or perhaps right below it. So, this varies from person to person, and just because your Enneagram number goes from one number to the other doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Sometimes we go to certain numbers when we're not feeling too good or when we're feeling great. Vice versa. We can take in negative connotation from either of the across numbers that we go to. Now we move on to the wing part of the Enneagram. As you see in the picture above, Enneagram numbers have their wings. For example, somebody who is a 1, an Enneagram 1 as we see here, might be an Enneagram 1 W2 or W9. What does that mean? That means that Enneagram 1 might be more towards the Enneagram 2, meaning that Enneagram 1 might be an Enneagram 1 in foundation, but at the same time is going to have Enneagram 2 type of characteristics. Or the other way around, the Enneagram 1, if it has a strong wing for the 9, that Enneagram 1 is going to be very much like the Enneagram 9. So we need to be on the lookout for some of these characteristics. It's really helpful to get to know all of them. There's this book I really recommend called The Complete Enneagram, 27 Paths to Greater Self-Knowledge by Beatrice Chestnut, PhD. Anyway, this video is for everyone, regardless of whether you have ADHD or not. But for those of us with ADHD, these problems might be a lot more consistent. You might have to be on the lookout for these issues to come up more and more. And if you have an issue with rejection sensitive dysphoria, it's the type of difficulty people with ADHD have, that they have difficulty with rejection. They have difficulty with feeling like they let somebody down, or like somebody let them down. And it feels really devastating. And sometimes they don't want to do an activity or see a person again for years, for days, for months, or sometimes even forever. It makes friendship really hard. So something to bear in mind. There should be a link above if you want to check out a video on RSD. And for those of you who want to find out, how do I work on rejection sensitive dysphoria? I know what it is. I just don't know what to do when it comes up. How do I address it? Well, there's a link up above of a video I made addressing those issues. How to handle it when you're going through it, how to handle it after the fact, and how to prepare for the next time rejection sensitive dysphoria hits. Should be a link above if you want to check that out. So I just want to reiterate with the fact that depending on your Enneagram number, some of these points might not relate to you, or they might relate to you a little bit, some more than others, and some perhaps not at all, and that's okay. That's because we're all completely different. If you enter this with an open mind and an open heart, I truly believe you can learn a lot of stuff and you can improve the quality of your life. And if you have a partner who you know is one of these Enneagram numbers, perhaps this can make a difference for them, and hopefully you can help them improve. I would urge you to please share this with somebody if you feel this content is of some help. It could really make a difference. Anyway, the point here is to bring help and to bring insight. I truly hope that this information brings you, a friend, a family member, or a loved one, some insight and some help. We just have to come into this with an open heart and with an open mind. To start off for today, we're going to look at the heart triad of the Enneagram. We look at the numbers 2, the numbers 3, and the numbers 4. The Enneagram 2, 3, and 4 are Enneagram numbers that relate to people through emotions, and there's usually a fixation on the emotion of sadness, of missing something, of lacking love or looking for that love, perhaps in different areas. And this stems from perhaps having an upbringing where love, when it was needed at very critical times, perhaps was not always given, or perhaps was given too little. And for some, unfortunately, perhaps not at all, some might feel. So let's have an open mind and an open heart. And let's try to reflect on our strengths and difficulties as people. At the end of the day, we're all humans and we all have our weaknesses and strengths. Let's work on this together. Let's aim to improve. Open your mind and open your heart. You'd be surprised how much you can accomplish. Let's give it a shot.
The Enneagram 2. Enneagram 2s are known to have a sense of feeling of belonging and to be loved by others. They are helpful. They are kind. They have a very loving and caring nature about them, especially to those who they deem worthy of their love. But at the same time, with that comes the Achilles heel of the Enneagram 2. With a need and a constant need to show and demonstrate love, unfortunately comes difficulty with admitting difficulties of the self. The Enneagram 2 has difficulty saying certain things that bother them, sometimes standing up for themselves. When they're so used to being helpful to other people, it's oftentimes really difficult to ask for help for your own self. We look at some core identifications. Enneagram 2s, a strong sense of meaning, acknowledgement from loved ones, and emotional intimacy with others are givers, grounding principles. Altruism holds a strong place in their hearts. and they readily go out of their way to volunteer their time and energy to bring others up. Kindness, reciprocity are the guiding values for their decisions. To improve someone else's life or mood is immeasurably better than helping themselves. The shared experience of spending quality time with a loved one. The shared experience of spending quality time with a loved one is among the best feelings in the world to type 2s. A strong desire Enneagram 2s feel is to feel loved and appreciated. This motivates them to express love towards others in their words and in their actions. But with this comes a fear. 2s fear being alone and unloved, and cope with this fear by taking care of others and making themselves central to other people's lives. We look at what is the balance of the self of the Enneagram 2. Learn how to step outside of yourself and see your personality more objectively, so you can observe patterns in your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. By observing yourself from an outside perspective, you can better understand where you need to set boundaries and practice self-care. 2s often deny their own emotions and needs while prioritizing those of other people. Growth for a type 2 lies in acknowledging and accepting your own emotions. Activities like journaling can really help Enneagram 2s get more in touch with their emotions. What does the Enneagram 2 say to themselves? When will they be ready to show up? A little something, a little thought processing might sound something like this. I have demonstrated enough love to those close to me. After I have demonstrated love to those close to me and have secured their reassurance, then I will show up. That comes with a catch. There's more to that though. What we look at as the marching orders an Enneagram 2 might tell themselves: give more energy to others than you may actually have to give. Be helpful and cheery. Make sure to demonstrate enough love and help to those close to you. But there's a contradiction. What makes you think you know what people really need? Would you stop loving a close friend or family member if they did not help you out? What makes you think people would stop loving you if you did not come through? Do you think everyone thinks like you? Everyone is unique and different, and these values which you hold are different for everyone. 2s flourish when they can learn how to set healthy boundaries focused on their own needs. A healing attitude for the Enneagram 2 could go something like this. It is perfectly fine for me to tend to my own needs and responsibilities first. My friends, family members, and loved ones will still care for me, and they want me to take care of myself. When 2s flourish and grow, when they learn how to set healthy boundaries that are focused on their needs, then they can truly grow and they can truly come out as who they are. And believe it or not, if you're an Enneagram 2 hearing this, so many of your family members and loved ones, they want to see who you really are. They want you to stand up for yourself. They love and care for you just as much as you love and care for them. An early coping strategy of the Enneagram 2 often begins with an experience, often early in childhood, perhaps some critical necessity that was not nurtured or met. And this could perhaps be because of parents that perhaps were not ready, maybe were a bit nervous, or didn't know how to go about being parents, and might have not seen the needs of the child. They might have not seen the needs of the Enneagram 2. And because of this, Enneagram 2s feel this void. This failure can include all kinds of basic needs, but especially with an emphasis on emotional needs not being met. From this early experience that's unfulfilled, the Enneagram 2 learns to adapt. It's a very strong idea that their needs, what they need, what an Enneagram 2 needs, is not as important as the needs of other people and loved ones around you. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. Just as much as you love those that are close to you and those that you care for, you have to understand that their love for you is just as strong. In order to return that love, you have to love yourself just as much as you love those that you love. Because then you're hurting your loved ones, because you're pushing yourself past the boundary. Grow as a person, refine yourself as a person, and know that your family and friends will still love you, regardless of whether or not you're there to help them. They know that you're human. You have to know that you're human. Cut yourself some slack. You deserve it. There's a strategy, a survival strategy some Enneagrams 2s make. There's a survival strategy that some Enneagram 2s make that it feels like they have to do this, like they have to be this super strong force of just support and love at all times. And sometimes we can't do that, and that's perfectly fine. We have to understand that we are human beings as well, and we cannot always deliver. We need to learn how to set boundaries. We need to learn that pleasing people is not always the goal. Sometimes we have to please ourselves because we have to be healthy. If we work in a job or work to help a family where our help really means a lot, then our mental health really is going to mean a lot, and we have to take care of our mental health. We have to take care of our physical health. We have to take care of ourselves in order to better take care of those that truly matter to us. We have to reflect. It's totally okay to say, I've had enough, I need a break, I can't be there right now. We have to learn with being okay, with admitting that we're not okay. But that doesn't mean it's the end. That just means we're taking a little break. Enneagram 2s habitually repress their feelings because this might impede on achieving a connection with important others. Don't repress your frustration or your anger. Talk about it. Your family members and friends, especially those that truly love you, will want to talk to you about it. Do it little by little. You can do it. And most importantly, don't forget that you are worthy of love and consideration. Go out there and be the best Enneagram 2 that you can be. I believe in you. The Enneagram 3. The achiever. The motivator. The status seeker. The self-proclaimed best. Enneagram 3s are very driven and very inspired people who have a very success-driven mindset. Let's just say success-oriented. Good communicator. Rally up the troops. But at the same time, there's a lot of vulnerability that isn't really reflected upon. Once we complete one goal, we're just looking to go to the next. And sometimes we don't learn the details that come sometimes with failure. Because sometimes Enneagram 3s don't want to give a try to things. They believe they can't win. Because winning sometimes is made too important. In fact, so important that winning becomes more important than your own life. Some main themes of the Enneagram 3 include being efficient, capable, and outstanding. They focus on goals, being pragmatic, and knowing how to present the self. Manages feelings by repression and keeping attention on tasks, staying active. Achievement offsets painful feelings. They look to others for feeling cues. Relation to systems. 3s want to work with the system, but they also like being outside of it, bending the rules and finding shortcuts. There's an efficient solution to this. We just need to get to work. What are some core identifications of the Enneagram 3? An identification that identifies powerfully with a self-image developed in response to what they perceive as admiration by others. Resist recognizing feelings of emptiness. Own self-rejection. To sustain the self-image of being admirable, desirable, attractive, outstanding, well-adjusted, effective, having unlimited potential. Without these things, sometimes the Enneagram 3 thinks that they're unworthy. The basic fear of the Enneagram 3 is a fear of being worthless without inherent value. Without value apart from their achievements, there's a red flag that perhaps they are failing, that their claims are empty, and perhaps fraudulent. Has the Enneagram 3 been lying to themselves this whole time? Do you like your own image more than you like your real self, Enneagram 3? Let me repeat myself. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you like your own image more than you like your real self? If that felt like a strong question, it's because it is one of the strongest questions that you can ask an Enneagram 3. And I'm here to tell you that your real self is worthy of absolute love and consideration. You don't have to make an image of yourself to get people to admire and love you. If you can balance yourself out, you can achieve goals. You can become a better version of yourself. But sometimes we worry too much about what other people think. The basic desire of the Enneagram 3 is to be valuable, to feel worthwhile, to feel accepted and desirable. There's a deterioration into chasing after the success, and then comes the wake-up call, beginning to drive themselves for status and attention. What is the ultimate call to attention of the Enneagram 3? To devote yourself and set an example for others. Remember, that is your true nature, says the Enneagram 3, to take pleasure in your existence and to esteem and value others. The Enneagram 3 might tell themselves, you might tell yourself if you're an Enneagram 3, I have accomplished enough to feel successful and worthwhile. When I have all the admiration and attention I want and feel completely outstanding, then I will show up. There's a catch to that though. What are the marching orders of the Enneagram 3? I will become present to my life only when I have accomplished enough to feel successful and worthwhile, is what some Enneagram 3s might say. When I have all the admiration and attention I want and feel completely outstanding, then I will show up. The marching orders go something like this. You are good or okay if you do something valuable. You are good or okay as long as you are successful and others think well of you. But here's the contradiction. What makes you think a particular activity makes you valuable? Why do you have to do something to feel valuable? How much do you have to accomplish to feel worthwhile? 3s are often overachievers who feel empty on the inside. Healing attitude, a mindset of growth and empowerment might go something like, maybe I don't have to be the best. Maybe people will accept me just the way I am. Maybe others' opinions of me aren't so important. Maybe my opinion of myself should be much more important. A lot of the Enneagram 3s lose track of who they really are because of wanting to meet the needs of others, because of wanting to project this image of themselves to other people, because they feel that their real self might not be worthwhile. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. There's probably people out there, if you're an Enneagram 3 listening to this, or the family member of an Enneagram 3, there's probably people out there, Enneagram 3s, who want to meet, speak, and interact and love the real version of you that they've been waiting for years to meet. It's just that you've been in this shield, in this guard of, I am my image and this is all I know. Because as a kid, that's all I was taught. The Enneagram 3 is taught at a young age that they will be loved and given consideration only by the actions of which they do, and those actions have to be absolutely phenomenal, which at times leaves the Enneagram 3 feeling empty. And sometimes like they have to overcompensate. Some Enneagram 3s work so hard. They work so hard, tirelessly, day after day, year after year, busting their chop for their family, for their friends. And we gotta take a break sometimes. We have to admit that we can't carry all of that on our shoulders, all for the sake of assurance. Some Enneagram 3s are really anxious people. They feel they need a sense of security because it wasn't given to them. Some Enneagram 3s feel really a strong sense of anxiety because when they were kids, they didn't have security at times. They probably felt like they needed reassurance and they didn't get it. So when they get older, they believe to themselves that they need to work hard always, no matter what. Otherwise, a calamity is going to come, and I'm here to tell you it's not true. You can plan, you can organize, you can be considerate to yourself and not overdo yourself. I guarantee you, Enneagram 3, you're a family member and loved one out there who wants you to calm your schedule down and lighten the giant load you put on your shoulders, so you can balance your life out and stop overworking yourself and being so intense and maybe angry and saddened. Whatever it is, give yourself some time. Give yourself some time to reflect. If you're gonna go on vacation, don't have that vacation be about work, about goals or achievements. Have that vacation be some time off for you or for your family or whoever's going. You need that for your mental health. Your mental health is just as important as your goals and accomplishments. You do not need to be deceitful about who you are. It's hard to be vulnerable when we've been taught our whole life not to be vulnerable, but we have to do that. In order for us to grow, we have to learn how to be real. Every human is worthy of love and consideration. We mess up, but we gotta pick ourselves back up. Some of us have done some intense, horrible things. We gotta ask for forgiveness if we feel the need to. We need to reflect. We need to grow, but we need to understand as a human being, Enneagram 3s, you guys are worthy of love and consideration. Be real. Reflect on who you really are. Go back to your childhood and pick up on everything that you left behind. It's really going to help you be the best you that you can be. I believe in you. The Enneagram 4. Motivations and main themes involved with the Enneagram 4 include a defined sense of being special, perhaps being different from other people. Enneagram 4s are often creative and present a unique, distinctive persona to the people around them. What are some core identifications of the Enneagram 4, you ask? Some distinctive inner and outer presentation. A little something like this. Prominent artistic outlets. Perhaps music, a musician, an artist, a writer, a dancer, a singer, you name it. Quirky, endearing, melancholic expression, strong sense of identity, may feel a sense of emptiness, passionate, about self-expression. At the same time, though, comes this basic fear the Enneagram 4s have, that they are flawed and are missing out on some basic aspect of happiness that other people have access to, but they don't. To cope with this fear, they amplify what is different and special about them, looking for the niche in which they can truly be appreciated. The basic desire of the Enneagram 4 includes 4s are motivated by their desire to express their individuality and to be unique. They do this through creative endeavors and by over-identifying with the aspects of their personality that they view as lacking or deficient. What might the balancing of the self look like for an Enneagram 4? To know and understand that you are worthy of love and consideration, regardless of what has not been done, what has been done, and etc., etc. Everyone does good and bad things in this life. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes, and that is okay. Being able to own up to mistakes, ask for forgiveness if necessary, and advocating for yourself when you need reassurance are all part of life. Regardless of what you tell yourself, you are already enough. What might an Enneagram 4 tell themselves in order for them to show up? An Enneagram 4 might say, when I have completed that thing or those things that are missing and needed among those close to me that I care about, only then will I be worthy enough and ready to show up. There's a catch to that. There's a catch to that. What are the marching orders of the Enneagram 4? What might they say to themselves? It might go a little something like this. You are good / worthy only when you have fulfilled what is missing or demonstrate a uniqueness about yourself. Here's the contradiction. What if nothing is missing in some scenarios? What if everyone has already accepted you? What happens if someone loves you for a common quality found in many others, Enneagram 4? Does that quality lose its merit because it's not unique? Do you believe human beings who are not unique are worthy of less love? Do you believe human beings who do not fulfill certain things that are missing are not as worthy of love? How far does that action and principle go? What would you do if you found out you are your own worst critic / biggest challenge in your life? I'm here to tell you, you probably think of yourself so much lower than so many other people think about you. I guarantee you so many of your friends and family members and colleagues hold you to such a high esteem. It's only that your blind spot doesn't let you see yourself for who you are. Perhaps because of something that happened to you while you were a little kid growing up. A lot of Enneagram 4s, they lack that love sometimes from their parents. They get it, but then at times when they feel like they really need it, it wasn't there. And that creates this push and pull relationship with love. That we feel like if we don't do something, if we don't do enough of something, or if we're not unique enough, or do something to help out or fill in the void of something, that love is gonna leave and it's not gonna come again. Perhaps you're an Enneagram 4 whose parents got divorced or something bad happened, and you blamed it on yourself. All these years you thought it was your fault. I'm here to tell you it's not your fault. How could it have been your fault? You were only a child. Or you're only a little kid. You might have only been an infant. Those things were out of your hands, I'm here to tell you. Adults are adults, and your parents were adults and made the decisions that they thought were best at the time. Don't hold that resentment with you. You have to let free of that. You have to let go of that. You have to understand that regardless of whether you do something or not, or whether you fill in that void, or whether you are unique or not, that you are worthy of love and consideration. Don't forget that. Enneagram 4s, they have an early coping strategy because they suffered some sort of actual perceived loss of love early in life. Things usually started out well, but at some specific point in time, the 4 child experienced some sort of abandonment or deprivation, and to make sense of this loss and to achieve some sense of control in light of it, the young 4 unconsciously became convinced that they somehow caused this. Don't believe that lie, Enneagram 4. If you're an Enneagram 4 listening to this, you could not have had so much power as a little kid to have caused that to happen. Don't bring that shame with you. If you're a melancholic type of Enneagram 4, don't lament in your suffering. Try to improve yourself. Enneagram 4s are really good at reflecting upon their emotions, but we have to reflect upon the emotions of empowerment. That happiness that you so long and look for is within yourself. You just have to look within yourself and learn to accept that things are sometimes as they are. Sometimes the beauty in life comes from what is missing in life. Sometimes the beauty in life, in art, and in music comes from the mistakes or what is missing. Music is not just sound, it is silence. It is the silence, the space in music that gives it its beauty as well. Sometimes lacking things in life, whether it's in art, whether it's in music, whether it's in relationship, whether it's in the human element, sometimes lacking something is what makes the thing beautiful in and of itself. Just like you as a human being. If it is the first time you reflected on something like that and felt those sentiments reflected upon you, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be something that just happens once. It doesn't have to be something brand new. It's something you should get used to. You should get used to confronting and being comfortable with being yourself and talking about, hey, I felt like I had a certain loss and I might long for the past. I might be nostalgic, but that's okay. I can make reality. I can bring nostalgia back through my music, through my art, through what I talk about. I can demonstrate love through my uniqueness, and I can feel love through being unique. But I don't have to be unique to get love. And that's something the Enneagram 4 needs to understand and needs to reflect upon. That they don't have to be unique to receive love and consideration. You're gonna get those anyway from your family, from your friends, your colleagues, and those that care and love for you. I know it's really tough, but we have to understand that it's in our control. It's all about the perception we have from within. How we view life, the perspective that we have can change everything. If we get motivated and we feel like if we get motivated and we feel like we keep falling back down, we just gotta keep rising back up. Doesn't matter how many times you fall back down. As the cliche saying goes, it's how many times you get back up. A lot of Enneagram 4s have an issue with stagnation, where they want to do something, but they're not sure how. They want the change, they want the improvement, but they don't know what step to take. Here's the first step you have to take. You have to accept that there's an issue. You have to accept that there's parts of yourself that you haven't spoken to other people about. How many times have you asked yourself throughout the week, throughout the day, am I worthy of love? Am I enough? What do I have to do to get it? The answer is you don't have to do anything. Your family and friends, your loved ones, those around you, your husband, your wife, your significant other, the person down the street, whoever, they love and care for you. And if you're a lonely Enneagram 4 and you feel like no one does that, I'll do that for you. A stranger, some person here on YouTube. Take my love and take my consideration in my words that you are worthy of love and consideration, regardless of whether you're unique or not, and regardless of whether you fill in what's missing or not. Be yourself. Aim to improve. You are worthy of love. Improve yourself. Become the best Enneagram 4 that you can be. I believe in you.